Hello and welcome back to another episode of Alex Goes Sailing. In this one we're going to be fitting the windows, and before the windows I will fit the cladding. Right, so for cladding the inside of the boat, on the sides and then also on the roof as well eventually, I've got this very thin, it's like maybe a couple mil thick, like just a plastic, a white plastic. It's got this blue protective film but it comes out, and this stuff is actually really good because it's quite light. Very flexible, as you can tell, so that's good on the curvature of the boat. And when we put this on the side, we're going to stick it down with some sticks like beep, and that stuff's brilliant. It literally does stick like beep, and we just stick that on the back, stick it to the boat once it's cut to the right size, and then when it's in the boat we will cut the hole out with the jigsaw. Use a really coarse blade so it just rips this stuff out, otherwise it'll just melt. And then we'll cut that out and then we can start fitting in the windows. And for the windows we're going to be using Lexan. Now the reason why I picked Lexan is because it's very flexible in its impact resistance. So whereas Plexiglas is it would shatter quite a lot, it's quite brittle. So on Masumi, the last boat, I actually had windows on the front and the sides that were Plexiglas. The ones that fit in the frame that are on the side of Masumi, they were fine because they were just stuck in with some silicone stuff that I had knocking around. On the front they were actually bolted through, and where the bolts were actually compressed and cracked, did spider cracking, and it did that over time. So it wasn't like a oh, I tightened it too tight. It just did it over time. So and it was Plexiglass is not meant to scratch as much, but there's quite a lot of scratches on it from the very little time that I used it. So I thought I'd try Lexan on this one, and the reason why I picked it is it's got very good impact resistance, much better because it's a bit more flexible, and you can give it a good old whack. So if I've got things flailing around, it doesn't really matter if it gets whacked because it's fine. It's meant to scratch more because obviously it's a little bit softer and not as brittle, but I'm not too worried about that because the windows are on the side of the boat and shouldn't really be getting walked or kicked about. The only thing might be on the side with the ropes for the jib or the genoa, but I'm not too worried about that. And it's reasonably cheap as well, and very easy to cut and work with, and it's more flexible than Plexiglass because you can bend it around. Now I've already cut the sheets out with the templates from the old glass because it had actual glass in the old boat, which, well, very heavy, it would shatter, it's quite grubby as well, so didn't really want that. I wanted to replace it, have something nice, clean, fresh, and probably save quite a bit of weight. But this stuff, it's flexible as anything, so you can bend this stuff, and I can bend this stuff right round. You can see I can bend it right round, doesn't shatter, and it bends and you can hold its shape. But well, that's good if you've got the curvature of the hull, which we have on these windows. So I didn't really want that with the Plexiglass, and it would sit quite weird. So yeah. Also, for using the jigsaw, it's best to use a really coarse blade, almost like a wood blade in the jigsaw to cut this stuff out. Because you use like a metal blade or something similar, it doesn't cut as fast through. It gets really hot, it gums up, and it's just not very good. It just melts everything. So with the coarse blade, it rips it out. It creates like a little trail of melted plastic maybe, but I mean it cuts it out perfectly fine, gets through it fast enough so it doesn't get too hot and start melting, which is ideal. And this stuff's actually really good, nice to cut. It's better than Plexiglass because I have gone through quite a lot of sheets of Plexiglass when I did Masumi, as it just shattered, and when you were going over it, it would scratch a little bit as well. Even no matter how careful you are, you put tissues down, you have it all stuck down to the actual table of the jigsaw. But anyway, this is the outcome, and we've got our things cut out now. Now, when I was taking apart Meraki, ripping everything out and taking off absolutely everything, I saved a lot of the stainless steel nuts, bolts and fittings and things that was on the boat, especially when I took out the windows. And in my lovely drawer that everyone who has a shed has, I kept these like barrel nuts, they're called. They literally have a thread inside of them, and it's like almost like a rivet almost on the other side, and that goes through the window frame, and then you just have a regular kind of like bolt through it, the right size obviously. But I mean, these work quite well, and I quite like the idea of them not having any like sharp edges. We have like ends of bolts sticking through, and they're quite sharp and pointy. Obviously you can get different types of bolts and stuff, but I mean, these cut nuts quite good because it applies good pressure at each side, opposed to how you normally have to twist as well. So I mean, this is working quite well. I could countersink the other side, so I thought I'd get more of these because well, there wasn't every single one of these in every single hole on the actual frames, so we're definitely missing some. So I went online and struggled to find some, but I found some at a good price, because for some weird reason these cost like gold almost. So yeah, so here are replacement barrel nuts. These are A2, so not A4, so that's not 316, but it's A2, and I can replace it if I need to, but it's the best I could find for a reasonable price, because yeah, but you can get loads of these. I got 100 of these, so I could even replace them all over again if I wanted to with these. And yeah, so these are M5, I went for the 10 long ones. These are quite good. Little torques in the end of it, so I can actually get something on the other end, which the other barrel nuts did not. They were just completely smooth, so I can actually like tighten them in there, so they might spin, but at least with this I can get something on this end. And then I'd get like I think I've got slightly short ones in this, probably like a 10 or a 15 I think it was, and get a torque on there, and we can tighten them on, and that's perfect for what we need, and thread them on. These are stainless steel as well, so it shouldn't be any like corrosion or anything, so that's good. Now for sealing the windows, there's different ways you can do it. Silicone, people do that, but I don't recommend it. That stuff is horrible. People do like silica flakes or other things, and some bedding compounds and things like that. But on this project, I'm pretty much going to use this as my only way of bedding things in. I'm going to use butyl tape. Now that stuff's brilliant. You can reuse it. Well, not best to reuse it, but you can reuse it. It's like pliable. You can just undo things. You can keep it dry, never sets. It's perfect, and you can clean it up quite easily. So I'm using that on pretty much everything, apart from obviously through holes, because that would be the best idea, I would think. Although you can do it, I think, but I wouldn't never do it. Just use silica flakes like you normally would. But this stuff's brilliant. It's like a Play-Doh almost. You just squeeze it around and you get it to the right shape, and normally you just wrap it around the bolts and squeeze it in. But for the windows, we'll just get a thin roll and actually roll it round on the actual window frame itself, and we'll just stick that in, and then we'll just clean up the edges, and hopefully it doesn't leak. But if it does, we can just undo it a little bit and get some more in there. Right, I've actually got the frames ready, I've got the bolts ready, I've got my butyl tape ready, everything's ready. I've got the holes on the inside on that nice plastic like covering stuff that I've done. So I've cut all that out, it's ready to go. Probably won't film this because it's going to take way too long, and there's going to be a lot of movement on the boat, and my tripod isn't not very good. So we're going to get this all done up, and then I'll show you the end result. I've also went around and countersunk with these special countersink bits, stainless steel ones, all the holes, so I can fit the actual countersink bolts, because before they weren't really sized for it. So it should be nice and neat. Right, so here we can see the actual windows. See, we've got a little bit more I have to clean up, but look at how nice these countersinks are. We scrub them up, they look good. We've actually got this stuff polished up quite nice. Probably need enough to clean up after this work, but actually went in quite well, and you can see a little bead just on the inside there. That cleaned up quite nicely, and well, that's nice and strong. We've got a little bit up in this top corner we've got to get rid of. Smaller window also came out nice, and as you know from the other episodes, we actually glassed over this hole here and removed the window. because there was one circle on one side, one other side didn't have it. But we cleaned up that so we don't have a random circle, because these are both rectangular, and overall it looks quite nice. Yeah, lots of good things to come on this channel, so subscribe and like, and leave a comment down below, because I do get back to you. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.